sense now that you know that, or it might make it more confusing. But anyway, I like to ski and I like to snowboard. But I don't go too much anymore. My family goes, but they used to go. But anyway, we've been talking about the names of God. And tonight I will be talking about how God is the good shepherd. But in order to describe God as this shepherd, you can't describe God with a word that you don't understand. So I think we need to understand what the shepherd even is. What is a shepherd? So I'm not going to go right into what a shepherd is, but a little story from my past. When I started snowboarding, I was really bad. I was terrible. I was like 10, I think. And so we went and had my sisters, and then my brother brought his friend. And I went down the slope once or twice with my dad. It was really bad, really slow. And then Dad took off, and he went with my other sisters, and I went with my brother and his friend. And they were really good, or just way better than me, I should say. So anyway, we were going down this slope, and they were going really fast, and I was like, guys, you need to like calm down, like slow down. They were like, no, like you're way too slow. And so they took off. They were like, we'll go get Dad. He'll come back and he'll help you. So I sat there. I just sat there in the snow, just waiting and waiting and waiting. It felt like forever, but I'm pretty sure it was like 5 minutes because I was just waiting. I was very cold. And then I went down the slope and I went up the ski lift and I got to the top and I see the big, like, I don't know if you've ever went skiing or snowboarding, but I saw the big sign of like, this slope can go there, there, there. And it looked like hundreds. I think it was only 20. But it looked like so much. And I was so lost because I was focused on this thing I'd never seen before. And then I turned around and I saw there was a ski patrol tent right there, or house, whatever. So I walked inside of it and I just started crying. Okay, remember I'm 10, okay? I'm a little, well, yeah, I don't know how tall I was. I was really short. and so I walk in and I start crying and they're like, hey, what's wrong? And I'm like, I can't find my dad. I'm lost. And so they took me literally right down the hill to the ski lodge. And I couldn't see the ski lodge from where I was, but if I would have known it was right there, I would have gone. So anyway, I was looking for my dad. And when I was looking for my dad, he was also looking for me. And we ran into each other. And he was like, oh, thank goodness, you're okay. And I was like, yes, I'm fine. You kind of left me, like what? Anyway, it was evident that he was searching for me. He was searching for me, and he was worried about me. He had actually left my other siblings, obviously, because they knew how to ski to find me, okay? And so when I say that, I kind of think back in the Bible when God talked about the 99, but the one lost. Okay, God will leave the 99 to find the one lost. The lady who lost the one coin but then found it, she gathered her friends and was like, rejoice with me, I found this one coin. I guess that's a lot. But she got everyone to rejoice with her because she found the one thing that was lost. And so I know this is a kind of a bad explanation of like what a good shepherd is, but to me, this is kind of what I think back on sometimes. Because if God's our shepherd, we're the sheep. Sheep aren't very smart, but I'll get to that later. Sheep are pretty stupid. Sorry, but God calls us sheep and, well, we're dumb. So, sorry. And so, I lost my point of thinking. Anyway, sorry, I apologize. That's the skiing story. Okay, I was lost, and Dad left my siblings and came and found me. He came and found me. And so that's as good as I can really explain what a good shepherd is off my stories. And so it's not very good, as you can just tell. But we can go to Psalm 23. Psalm 23 explains it way better than I ever could. Okay, Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life. This is one of the most well-known passages ever, but I tried to memorize it, but I wasn't going to try and say it up here because I probably wasn't going to get it very well. But when was this written? Some people might think like this is written, like this is a very nice passage. Some people might think it was written by someone who's sitting in a very comfortable, luxurious spot, like, oh, the king is so good, or the Lord is so good that he gives me everything I need. Like, I would almost thought this was written by a king. or someone that has everything they need. No, this was written by David. This was written by David when he was on the run for his life from King Saul. He was on the run for his life for 10 years, a decade. I'm 21. That's half my life. Half my life, I don't know how old everyone is, but that's almost most of your lives. That is, actually. So yeah, David was never really had a quiet life, I wouldn't say. He killed Goliath, and he was on his run for 10 years, okay? Those are the two main stories that I think everyone here knows. So it wasn't written by someone who's just uncomfortable. It's written by someone who, on the run from their life. I can't explain that enough, that he was running for his life. So let's just go into verses 1 and 2. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures for his name's sake. Nope, just waters. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. Okay, so a couple points that we need to zoom in on here. We lack nothing. We think we lack a lot of stuff, and we kind of do, that we think we need. I just wish I was financially stable. I wish I had that car, that girl, or anything in life, that house. I don't know what it would be for you guys right now. Maybe, I haven't been your age for a while, but I'm not that old. Maybe a video game. Okay, I need that Xbox. I need that video game. That's not a need. Okay, God supplies everything we need. And he knows us more intimately than we could actually even know ourselves. It doesn't actually make sense all the time, but he knows us so intimately. He knows why we do stuff and where that comes from out of our life, why we do this and for what reasons. And then God makes us lie down in green pastures. We don't deserve rest. We don't deserve these comfortable times. We don't deserve it, but God gives it to us. Why? Well, first, because we're sheep, because we're dumb, we don't know what we need. So God makes us lie down because he knows we need this, okay? God doesn't give us too much on our plate that we're like, God, you're giving us too much, I need to slow down. No, he gives us enough, but it's because we turn to worldly things that we turn to video games or our phone, okay? Can we get out our phones really quick? Just everyone get their phones out. I'm assuming a lot of people have their phones here. Go on screen time. Exactly. Before you even see it, you know it's bad. And that's bad. Okay, so mine today, I'm kind of saved here because I had to do this. I have an hour 44 on my phone, but I've spent multiple hours in the Bible today because I'm studying for this. That's not every day, though. There's some days I go 3 hours on my phone and haven't opened my Bible. I don't want to say that, but that's the truth. Okay, so I don't want to just shame you guys and be like, you're bad, you're on your phone way too much. I am too. I was homeschooled for a time, and I think one time I looked at my screen time. This was when I was homeschooled, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I had 10 hours on my phone. 10 hours. Half the day gone. Guys, if you spend 2 hours on your phone every single day for the whole year, that's 1 month of your life. So every time you turn a year older, you've only really lived 11 months. So be off your phone. I don't know what to say there. I mean, you've been told that multiple times, but it's up to you. So let's continue reading. In verse 3, let's just read it instead of trying to memorize it. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. How can God refresh our soul? It's less screen time. Now, sadly, I don't have my Bible up here. It's less screen time, but more Bible time. Okay, it's our fault that we don't have peace sometimes. Sometimes we really want to choose two paths that will both honor God, and we're not sure which one. But most likely, and usually, we have more screen time than we do Bible time. And this is our fault. This is why we don't have peace. And so if you're wondering why you're always, sadly, this is just amongst everyone nowadays, anxiety and depression, let's look at those numbers. How much time are you spending in the Word? How much time are you spending in the Word? That can solve not all your problems, but a lot of your problems. And so let's zoom in now to another part on this verse. It says paths. Now, right now, I'm 21, turning 22, I have a lot of options after I'm done serving here. I'm with the Way Youth Center, and I'm done here in 3 months. After this, I can go back home. I can stay here. I can intern here. There's so many paths nowadays, so many options, so many good options that I'm almost getting dragged down. I'm not making any. I'm standing here, but I have 5 doors in front of me. And I'm like, which one should I do? Which one should I do? It says paths here because God guides us. It says right here, he guides me along right paths. Paths, P-A-T-H-S. There's more than one that you can go down that will be okay. If it's God honoring, and if you're truly seeking God's heart, you're okay. And I say that because I'm still in it right now. I'm like, hey, I'm soon done, 3 months. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? But it's okay. If you're truly seeking God's heart, you can go down this one or this one. And there's a saying, life only makes sense in reverse, but it only can be lived forward. And what that means is you see 5 doors here. You can go this one, and that's every step. After this door, there comes another couple steps, a couple other doors. But in reverse, you can see exactly what path you took, and it makes all sense. But you can't live your life like that. You need to live it faithfully, and keeping your eyes set on God. And so he gives us free will. It's obviously he gives us free will, but we need to be in prayer about each of these paths. Okay, because God is peace. Okay, what are fruits of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace. I don't have, exactly, there you go. You know them. But we need to be in prayer because God will give peace, usually, at least how it has been for me, more for this one or this one. But if one is completely against God, I can almost guarantee that path is not going to have much peace. It's 0 to no peace, okay? And so let's just keep going into verse 4. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Now the first part of this, walking through dark valleys. Right here, it's letting us know before we even get to these hard times that we're going to have hard times. It says, even though I walk through darkest valley, I will fear no evil. But how are we not going to fear evil? Okay, you get stressed out all day. I get stressed out. I overthink this, like I just said with the paths. But there's nothing to fear. Why? There is only something to fear when our eyes are not on God. There is a lot to fear when we're looking at things of this world and looking at all the bad instead of focusing on what God has given us. He's given us friends, family, a church. I just went to Jamaica and I just learned how much stuff I take for granted. This right here is a blessing. We were in Jamaica and they said, take military showers. I don't know if you know what that means. It means turn the water on, get wet, get a bar of soap, turn the water off, get a bar of soap, scrub yourself, turn the water back on, get in, get out, as fast as you can. That's a military shower, and that's the showers that we had to take. That's not bad, and there was no laundry. There was laundry, but you really weren't supposed to do it. However, we can't fear these times if we have our eyes set on God. And so when God walks on water to Peter, and he asked Peter, get out of the boat and come to me. Well, I'm sorry, I'm thinking out loud. I actually don't think he asked Peter to come to me. Peter said, dear Lord, if you're the one, help me get out of this and walk to you. Let me walk on water. And so he walks. And right as soon as Peter turns his eyes from God, he starts what? Oh, clock it. Okay, so we need to keep our eyes on him. And so when we have depression, we have anxiety, these are real things. These are real things. I don't want to just play around with them. They're real. But God is bigger than them. When our fear becomes bigger than God, this is when problems seek into our life. But now let's go to more the end of the rod and the staff. Proverbs 13:24 says, whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves the children is careful to discipline them. God loves us. Yes or no? Yes. It's obvious. He says it. He created us from dust, and he created Eve from our man's rib. And he says, this is man who I am very pleased. I'm getting flustered here, so I do apologize. But he loves us. God doesn't hate us. It says whoever loves their child is careful to discipline them. Whoever spares the rod, whoever doesn't use the rod on their children, hates them. And so some of you probably have gotten games taken away. Maybe even, I got smacked with anything that was laying around. I got I got bent over my dad's knee. He would take 5 swings. It would hurt, yes. But some of you are like, what? That's terrible. That was just normal. Dad gave me 2 chances. Well, actually 1 chance. If I had made a mistake, he would be like, okay, don't do this again. This is why this is bad. This is why you don't do this. And if I did it again, I did it knowing that it was against Dad's word and against what Dad said. Therefore, he had to spank me because words weren't doing enough. And so not everyone learns the same way. That's why parenting is very difficult. But I don't know because I'm not a parent. And so here, there's 2 types of correction. There's the rod, and then there's the staff. The rod, to me, is a more harsh. It just is more harsh. It's a more, you knew what you did, you deserve this. And so when we look back at Jonah and the whale, Jonah was going his own way. God said, go here. He spoke to him and said, go here. Jonah was like, nope, no. Went this way. Words were not enough for him. So God sent a whale. God never actually has a rod. No. But he sends these things to Jonah to get him, okay? 40 days, 40 nights in a whale? That's a rod. That's not fun. That's not gentle, But then, in that same lesson, I see that God used his staff. Again, Jonah went to Nineveh and the whole city repented, and then he was mad. He was mad because God saved this city. And why is he mad? He didn't create them. He didn't create it. And so God kind of uses the staff here. When he sends the plant to Jonah, he sends the plant to rise up, give him shade, and he's like, oh, this is so nice, so comfortable. And then God sends a worm to chew it up. God sends the worm to chew it up, and then Jonah's mad again. Jonah's mad because God saved these people, because God sent a worm to chew this plant. And God's like, why are you mad for something you never created? Why are you mad? And so that's one way kind of the staff is used. And so one way that I see how Dad used the rod and the staff with me is my dad was a builder. He would build houses, and so he had a lot of tools, and he loves his tools. They're very nice. Tools are very expensive. And so one time I was outside doing some stupid treehouse idea, and I left the tools outside. It rained. Dad found them later, and they were rusty. He was like, Jensen, come here. He was like, was this you? And I was like, yes. And he was like, hey, this is bad because these are expensive. This is a luxury to have tools like this. And so I was like, okay, I'm very sorry. What do you know? The next week, I want to say, I leave tools outside again. Dad takes me back to the shop. I can still remember it. And I don't do it since. I haven't done it since. I got spanked. And like I said, his words were not enough for me to understand that this was really bad. I got spanked, and now I can't remember the last time I left a tool outside in the rain. Maybe a hammer here and there, but mistakes happen. Now, like I said in the beginning, we're like sheep, okay? Sheep are dumb. Some of you are probably like, oh, sheep aren't that bad. They're cuddly. They're soft. They can't harm anything. Generally, I don't think they can kill a single animal. The only way they would kill an animal is if they were chewing grass and accidentally ate a grasshopper or something like that. I don't know. They can't protect themselves either, which is why they need a shepherd. And like us being sheep, we need our shepherd. But some of us are dumb, and we go our own way. We go things of this world, and then we have problems, and we wonder why. Now, I'm not saying if you follow God that you're not going to have any problems. There's a purpose there, and there's no reason to fear these problems anymore. But when something happens that all your money gets taken away, that's the worst thing possible. But when you have God, it's like, oh, money doesn't matter. Money means almost nothing. Now, we are supposed to store our money well, but you'll learn when you grow up. You should probably learn that right now, actually. Just saying. Anyway, there's a sheep story. I can't remember. I think it was in Germany. And there was a shepherd. And I think he had about 1,000. These numbers are rough, just to make it easier for you. But there was 1,000 sheep, okay? And it was on a cliff, and the shepherd, I guess, was letting them graze or whatever. Anyway, this bird came along. They were on a cliff, by the way. This bird came along, and one of them started chasing it, like, whoa, no way. And then he started chasing it, and then all of them started chasing it, and what do you know? The one's chasing it, and the one falls off. And what do you know? The next one falls off, and the next one. 300 sheep fell off a cliff that died. Only 300 died though. Why? Because the rest of the 700 did fall off the cliff, but there was a pile of dead ones so big that the other ones bounced off. Exactly. Sheep are dumb. And probably the ones that bounced off were probably like, yo, that was a sick ride, let's do it again. Like, no, we're dumb. What do we chase? We chase these birds, okay? Things of this world that lead nowhere but death. And only luckily sometimes does God save us and we're like, wow, that was close. We're smart enough to see that that wasn't a fun ride, but that was actually close to death. And so I know that's funny and I'm happy you're laughing, yes. But what birds are you chasing? There's things that lead you away from God, that lead to death. Everything is going to die. Everything is going to perish. You're going to die. You're going to perish. And the thing is, we don't know when. We don't know when. I had a cousin. I'm sorry to do this right after you're laughing. That's on me, so don't feel bad if you keep laughing. But I had a cousin, and she was a big runner. And there was a lot of rain a couple days, and so the rivers were really high. And anyway, she got too close to one of the rivers, and she slipped in. And we didn't find her for 3 days. And so, I'm sorry to say that right after you guys were laughing, but she passed away. She was 18. She was my sister's twin cousin. They were born on the same day. And that was really hard. 18. I don't know how much of you guys are 18 right now. A lot of you aren't 18. And a lot of you, I'm not going to say that was bad. Some of you might not get to 18. And it's a sad thing to think of, but you're not guaranteed the next day. And so, sorry to bring that to a close in such a bad way. Guys, we are sheep, and we need God to be our shepherd. And so the question I want to ask is, what birds are you chasing more than God? Because if you chase these birds too much and too close, and your eyes are too fixed on these, you will die, and you'll never have an opportunity to come back. So, that's all I have. Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you so much for this time that we have to come here, eat food, have good games, good laughs, serious talks. Dear Lord, I just pray that we would all see that we are sheep and we're defenseless against Satan sometimes, unless we have you, unless we're following you, and unless we keep our eyes set on you, Lord. And so I just pray that everyone here, adult or child or mid, would keep our eyes fixed on you, that we would have more Bible time than screen time. And so I just pray for people who are more on their phone than the Bible, the people who are chasing birds that lead to death, Lord, that you would convict them and that you would seek them out. So I just pray for the rest of the night, Lord, that it would go well and that everyone would get home safe. Thank you so much for this time. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
All right. Hey, I have great news tonight. We don't have to pack Grace bags, all right? Yes, you're welcome. All right, but I want you guys to go to group. Remember what Jensen talked about? What birds are you chasing in life? We all have it. What's keeping us away from God? And a quick thing that just came to mind for me, hey, listen, something that came to mind for me is how it really just takes one sheep and then they all start to go. And a lot of you guys, whether you believe it or not, are examples. You are, especially you older guys, you juniors, you seniors. You're examples to some of the younger crowd, and even you middle schoolers who you don't realize it. You're examples, whether it's the younger siblings, whether it's the people at school. And so, if you are a Christian, if you claimed yourself as a disciple of Christ, that means you're an ambassador, is what Paul says, which means you sponsor Jesus in everything you do, whenever you walk. And so if someone who doesn't know Jesus sees you acting out, doing things that are not of God, but they follow through because they think it is of God, that's bad, right? And so we're all chasing birds. Figure out what it is in here tonight. All right, you're going to go to groups, and then you don't have to worry about grace bags. All right, it's been taken care of. So you guys are good to go, and hope you guys have a good group.